Slimpaggy, Keto here.
And Mio here to tell you that we've watched multiple Five Nights at Freddy's fan films.
Based on the popular video game series.
But Zubwub Media's Pieces of Revulsion is easily the most brutal one we've ever watched.
Not only that, but has its own version of the FNAF lore with a psychological horror twist.
And if that wasn't enough, Pieces of Revulsion might be the only FNAF film ever made on a PS4.
Many fan films use Blender,
Source Filmmaker,
Minecraft,
and real-life costumes.
But Pieces of Revulsion is made in a program that you have never heard of, possibly. Dreams, PS4.
Dreams is a game that allows users to create and experience user-generated content. Usually, it's used to create games for people to enjoy, but in this case, Zubwub created an hour-long movie with a complete voice cast.
Now before we dive in, we encourage you to check out Pieces of Revulsion either before or after watching this video to support Zubwub. But we must warn you, there's some very dark and heavy things in this fan film, plus some blood and language. If that upsets you, then maybe don't.
Now, as we said before, Mr. Zubwub has made his own version of the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, but a good deal of it follows the currently accepted FNAF timeline. For example, it starts off with Evan, the alleged FNAF crying child, having nightmares about the Fredbear and Friends animatronics, just like in FNAF 4. Terrifying!
You know, there's a lot of weird activities going on, and I don't like that, I don't like that.
Big brother Michael tells Evan to get the frick out of bed, and we learn that today is Evan's birthday. Oh gosh, not again! We then get some pretty slick opening credits. While I do like the music, and maybe it's just my headphones, it could use a bit more bass.
Bass. The animatronics are still leaving Evan wigged out, but this girl hangs out with him.
My dad says he made them for entertainment, but they just look weird.
1, that is a rather interesting accent for what I assume is supposed to be Charlotte, and 2, why are everyone's hands so dang big?
Why not open up that other establishment?
What? With the characters from the show?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Just look at them paws!
By the way, this is William Afton and this is Henry, not Emily!
Henry Fred. And Henry has a southern accent just like his daughter, and William is not British. Hashtag me disappointed.
And my day is ruined.
I guess Michael is a part of a band or something, and he doesn't want to be stuck doing nothing in his father's super lame diner. But before he and his friends die of boredom, they find some potty masks and conceive a devious plot.
We all know how the story goes. But this fan film does an exceptional job at showing just how badly the animatronics scare Evan. We don't really learn why only Evan is afraid of them in the story, but the boy is clearly affected.
Michael and his friends do the stupid, and while tormenting Evan by holding him up to Freddy, something goes terribly wrong, and Evan is killed! Well, mostly killed! We see him briefly in the hospital before he dies. Womp womp.
Did you say want?
We don't want this video to be too intense, but on a real note, despite a couple of things that might be a little bit scuffed about this movie, which we'll mention later, Pieces of Revulsion does a good job of being very dramatic. Even if you know what's going to happen to Evan, you still feel some major dread. Well, maybe it's because we know what's going to happen.
After Evan dies,
R.I.P. the GOAT!
William is back home throwing back bottles of booze. Michael seems decently remorseful, but then William angrily says that Michael has been a terrible tormenting brother and he sucks.
Because you don't think. You never fucking think.
Michael says that William sucks, and that's why Mom left, and then William throws a bottle at him, and they start fighting.
Okay, this is actually pretty intense. Let's take a brief moment to not only admire the heaviness of this movie, but also just to breathe. Okay, that should be good enough.
Michael slashes William across the face with a fork.
Gosh dang! William then grabs a knife and starts stabbing Michael to death!
That's not lore accurate at all! It is so dark!
As many of you know, in the normal FNAF lore, Michael dies way later in the story in Sister Location, but is revived by Remnant, which is a thing. William murdering his own son in bloody PS4 graphics is very unexpected.
Sometime later, William meets back up with Henry again. How did this man get away scot-free with no police investigation? If they found the body, they'd see the stab wounds, and if William lied and said he ran away, then they would go looking for him, right?
But it doesn't matter, because William tells Henry that they're gonna finally turn their diner into a proper restaurant, and that they can use the old parts for the new place. Quite a bold strategy.
I mean, the story makes no sense.
Flash forward to November 18th, 1987, and some kids provide some exposition. Evan, being obliterated, is called the Bite of 83. And there are some stories of kids going missing at the new restaurant. Not good. But the kids make the foolish decision of breaking into the place under the cover of night.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Are kids in these fan movies deranged? Is this just a thing? Have any of you broken into abandoned restaurants?
Oh snap. Oh, frick!
The kids explore the place for a while, and things quickly go south for the winter when Fritz goes missing.
Fritz?
Hey, isn't there supposed to be a bunny too?
Yeah, where is Bonnie?
And now Bonnie is on the loose. Oh boy, it's Bonnie again. Gabriel, don't know if that's his real name, gets caught, and the yellow rabbit says,
"You want to relive what happened to you and your friends? Do it!"
You know, I've suddenly become very aware of how dark the actual FNAF series is. Anyway, he's probably dead, and Susie encounters a ghost!
Jeremy gets stabbed by the yellow bunny man, and Susie falls victim to Foxy.
Later, days, weeks, we don't know, William tells Henry that they need a security guard to keep the kids out of the place. They eventually find a guy called Mike Schmidt. While talking to him, William gets flashbanged by flashbacks of burying Michael. I still don't know how he got away with that, but he did.
Surely someone will come around.
There's a lot of these cut-to-black transitions in the movie, and I'm not sure if it's just a Dreams PS4 thing, but if not, it might be a bit overused. Not a major knock against this movie, but just a wee bit of feedback for the editing. But back to the story.
Mike the security guard arrives and is settling in when Henry calls to give a rundown of the situation at hand, i.e. telling him about the tech and why the building has limited power. Dang, that phone is huge!
Anyways.
Nani? Mike is getting some beauty sleep when suddenly the power goes out, and Mike discovers that the animatronics, for some reason, enter free roam mode randomly, even when there's no power on. We might have said it before, but I'll say it again. Not good. Really not good.
We're treated to a little Freddy and Friends episode where Freddy and friends meet Foxy so they can cross the ocean. Not super interesting, but there's also flashes of the yellow bunny man murdering kids. So that's just awesome.
Henry ends up calling William and saying that he needs to fix Buggy Bear, Bunny Boy, and Birdie Boo because they smell like dead corpses. And after hanging up, William crashes the frick out. Oh yeah, just in case it wasn't too obvious, William is the yellow rabbit man. I don't know what you're doing here if you don't know that already, but there you go.
Now on to Noches Dos for Mike Schmidt. The animatronics are getting a little bit too quirky and quite possibly hostile. Frick that.
Henry?
This is a very dire situation, but it would be super funny if William was holding the phone up to his actual bunny ear in the bunny costume. Just a thought.
Okay.
Mike, for some reason, leaves the office. I guess he thinks he should find something and goes into the room that holds dark secrets.
Disturbed by this, Mike tries to leave the restaurant, but oh no, he can't, and now he thinks the turbo furries are haunted.
He hears spooky sounds and for some reason investigates, only to have his worst fears confirmed.
There's no way that there's only bones left, as this has not been nearly long enough, but we will forgive it.
Things go from bad to worse to cursed when Freddy Fazbear finds him, but a taser is surprisingly effective. Unfortunately, Foxy comes spiraling out of the darkness.
Checking in on Henry, we see that Charlotte, his daughter, is still having nightmares about Evan getting chomped. And we learn that everyone thinks that Michael went missing, and they still haven't found him.
They say he's been missing and they still haven't found him at all. It's been years, Dad.
Sure, fine, why not? I guess he ran away and joined the circus.
Henry starts stressing about the security guard not showing up for work. But what's this? Mike left a note saying, they are alive. Surely this is of no importance.
Henry and Charlotte eat dinner consisting of particularly shaped brown stuff, and Charlotte tells her father about her nightmares.
By the way, Henry's wife and Charlie's mom are apparently on vacation. Not sure how a wife of a struggling pizzeria businessman can afford to go on a vacation for over a week, but she's currently just not in the picture. I just hope she comes back.
Henry feels the urge to leave to go check on something in the pizzeria, and for some unholy reason, he asks William to keep an eye on Charlotte. Goodness gracious, man, are you blind? He even says out loud, Will, what are you hiding from me? Do you really want Mr. Stares at his hands in horror to watch your daughter alone?
You are made of
stupid.
Henry arrives at Freddy's and finds some pretty messed up stuff. I don't know what he saw. Suddenly, William is here with Charlie. How did we not hear them before? And it's very clear that William is completely off his rocker.
Do you hear that? What are you talking about? They want something. They want something from one of us.
Luckily, he throws Charlotte away from. Luckily, he throws Charlie away from him and starts wigging out over some hallucinations. Ghost children are leaping around the place and throwing chairs. So William runs to the cover of his rabbit suit. He proceeds to roast the children for being stupid ghosts.
Worthless children. There is nothing you can do. Nothing! You can push me away, sure. But I always come back.
But then, Evan's ghost arrives and tells William that because he murdered Michael, among other things, he does not deserve the family he was given, and then disappears.
This causes William to shed a tear, one that regrettably hits one of the spring locks. And, yeah. And that's the end. Wait, what?
Also, if you'd like a little light dessert after that grim tale, there are some bloopers after the credits to watch if you wish.
Time to review!
Despite never playing Dreams on the PS4, we can tell that this film is quite impressive. The overall quality is more than I would have expected.
The voice acting is pretty good for a fan film. Sure, it's a little bit amateurish and has some inconsistent microphone qualities, but it didn't distract from the enjoyment of the film.
And all this quality goes for an impressive runtime of just under an hour. Though, one could say that it could be a little shorter to make the experience a bit more condensed.
Or perhaps a little longer so we can go into more detail, as it seems like some things are just kind of ignored or not exactly elaborated on, like the ending of the movie itself.
However, as is the slow parts in the movie do help build the tension and get y'all nervous to shiver your timbers.
The art style is quite interesting. I'm pretty sure you can only do so much in Dreams PS4, but the character designs themselves are quite nice. I'm very curious though, how did they get the animatronics in there?
And what's with all this dust in the air? Are those the pieces of revulsion? Back to the models in PS4, the characters have a pretty limited range of expressions they can do, but Zubwub and team do a very good job of having them express through small movements and everything. They're animated very well.
Overall, the new take on the story is quite interesting. It has some nice dark psychological twists and everything, and following William as being the main character is an interesting and unique decision. The main critiques of the movie would have to be, it's a little too dark sometimes, and the story doesn't seem very resolved.
Presumably, this sets up Springtrap as a character and sort of an origin story to that, but since the events in this movie are already different from the games, it leaves us with a lot of questions as to what's supposed to happen next. I guess it ties in a lot of elements from the official FNAF movie, which also left me confused with many questions. But that's just our opinion. All in all, very well made.
We look forward to seeing Zubwub's new horror film coming out eventually. I don't exactly know when, but looks quite interesting based on the trailer.
As we mentioned before, please support the original creator and go watch the whole movie for yourself if you wish.
And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit that hype button. We still don't know what it does, but please!
And if you want us to check out a FNAF VHS series, you can check that out over here.
If you want something a little bit different, check out this one over here. Until we see you there, have a blessed day. Bye!